Minsu gasped in surprise as she admired the ring and asked who the lucky man was, adding that Yuna should have brought him along to Korea. With a shy smile, Yuna glanced at Woobin and revealed that the man was none other than him. Minsu and Sonjin stood stunned, taking a moment to process what they had just heard. Sonjin looked at Woobin for confirmation, and Woobin nodded, confirming that it was true. He explained that while traveling he had passed through Portugal, where Yuna was staying. She had convinced him to stay a little longer, and during that time they had reconnected and rekindled their relationship. Minsu hugged Yuna with excitement, telling her how happy she was that she had finally gotten her man. Yuna smiled, clearly touched. Sonjin offered his congratulations to both of them and added that he was already looking forward to the wedding. Woobin glanced over at Minji and remarked that he needed to go see his goddaughter and wish her a happy birthday. The group walked back together toward the celebration, sharing laughter and joy, ready to continue the festivities as one big, happy family. A few weeks later, Woobin and Yuna's wedding day finally arrived. In his hotel room, Woobin sat quietly as he finished getting dressed. The moment felt surreal. His mother entered the room, her face lighting up as she took in the sight of her son in his wedding suit. She stepped closer, gently adjusting his bow tie, and commented on how handsome he looked. Woobin smiled and thanked her sincerely. With a hint of concern in her voice, his mother asked if he was truly sure about marrying Yuna. Woobin nodded with confidence, assuring her that he was. He admitted that a year ago he had doubts. Yuna had been a little immature back then, and they didn't truly know each other well. But things had changed. After spending meaningful time together in Portugal, they had grown closer. He explained that Yuna had matured, and their bond had strengthened in ways he hadn't expected. Hearing this, his mother smiled softly and said that if he was certain, then she was happy. All she had ever wanted was for him to find someone who would treat him well. Woobin took her hands in his, looked into her eyes, and reassured her that Yuna was that person. He promised that he would treat Yuna with the same love and respect she deserved, and that his mother had nothing to worry about. Touched, his mother told him the ceremony was about to begin. With her hand in his, they left the room together. At the wedding venue, guests gathered under soft lights and gentle music filled the air. Woobin stood at the altar with his best man, Sonjin, by his side. He stared ahead, feeling the weight and beauty of the moment. Just a year ago, marriage had been the furthest thing from his mind, something he thought he would never do. But life, he realized, had its own way of unfolding, often in the most unexpected yet perfect ways. The bridesmaid, Minsu, began her walk down the aisle. As she approached the altar, both Woobin and Sonjin turned their gaze toward her. Sonjin, in particular, felt his heart race. The way Minsu carried herself, calm and graceful, made him fall in love with her all over again. When she reached him, he gently held her hand and whispered that she looked beautiful. Then the wedding music shifted, signaling the bride's entrance. All eyes turned as Yuna appeared, walking in gracefully with her father by her side. Slowly, they made their way toward the altar. Woobin's eyes never left her. It was hard for him to believe that the girl he once viewed as a little sister, the girl he had watched grow over the years, was now the woman about to become his wife. When Yuna reached the altar, she stood before Woobin, her smile radiating joy. They looked at each other, their emotions written clearly on their faces. The pastor began the ceremony. Vows were exchanged, followed by rings, and finally, the moment came. The pastor pronounced them husband and wife and gave Woobin permission to kiss his bride. With love in his eyes, Woobin pulled Yuna close and kissed her as the guests erupted into applause and cheers. After the ceremony, the newlyweds were joined by their family and friends for a group photo. Sonjin stood proudly beside Minsu, cradling little Minji in his arms. Yuna stood close to Wubin, her hand wrapped tightly around his. Minsu's parents stood together, smiling warmly, while Sonjin's parents joined in, standing near Wubin's mother. Yeren, filled with joy, stood among them, her heart full as she embraced her place within her newly found family. Minsu glanced around the scene, her heart overflowing with gratitude. She reflected on her journey, from being adopted to finding loving parents to discovering her biological sister and creating a life surrounded by people who meant the world to her. In that moment, as the camera clicked and captured the smiles of everyone standing side by side, she felt the fullness of her life and the promise of many more beautiful journeys ahead.